Hey folks, Cool18 here, and welcome to the next episode of our Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. This is a pre-release copy. Some things, of course, may change before you get your hands on it, and obviously this is going to contain some amount of spoilers. So in the last episode, we went ahead and created our druid named Thorns over here, and currently our caravan is stopped. Our way is blocked by a fallen tree, and we have fallen a bit ill. So we have to go out and look for maybe some spring berries, which apparently might help us out just a little bit, while Sparful, one of the other people in the caravan here, goes to look for some water. We can ask some questions.
They grow on a bush that's common round here, kind of funny looking. You'll know it when you see it. Doubt you'd have to go far off the road to find one.
What are the ruins?
Nothing you won't see on half the hills of Glonfoth. Money to be made selling their knickknacks in Defiance Bay, if you don't mind getting stuck with Glonfoth and arrows now and again. They didn't build them, but I'll be the effigy if they don't watch them like a mother bear.
Oh, I know about bears.
Of course, all the ones around here have been ransacked 10 times over. Got nothing left worth half a pond, so I hear.
So who did build the ruins?
Got different names for them. Settlers called them Ingwithans. Nobody that liked them enough to stop them becoming ruins, tell you that much.
So is it dangerous out there?
Not if you hurry about your business. And not if the weather holds up.
What kind of weather do they get out here?
This time of year, rain mostly, and wind. But there's a different kind of wind out here time to time. Locals call it a beawick, born out of the ether, the spirit's path. Never seen it myself, never cared to.
And what are those huge rocks coming out of the ground behind us?
They don't got Adra where you come from? Well, it just grows up out of the ground like this. Goes deep like tree roots. Some of it all the way to the heart of the world, you believe the stories.
I don't believe the stories.
It's more like a shell than a proper rock. Easier to work if you're a mason. Got all kinds of strange properties. Seems to have some kind of life of its own. Dies if it gets dug up. Loses its luster. Folks think it probably grew at one point or another, but not these days. The soul butchers in Defiance Bay use it for different things. I've heard tell it can hold a man's soul, but I don't care to see it.
That sounds useful.
Got enough to worry about without seeing something like that.
Alright, let me go find those berries.
Hold on. Take someone with you. I know you're not some helpless tenderfoot, not like most of this lot. But you drop dead, I don't want to be looking for the body. Got a schedule to keep.
Well, he's very pragmatic. Scans over the travelers, resting his eyes at length on a sturdy, armor-clad woman who has spent the journey's nights sleeping on uneven ground without blanket or pillow. That's pretty tough.
Kalisha. Kalisha! He needs to find some spring berries. Watch that he doesn't drop dead.
No promises.
What kind of guide says something like that?
Kind you can afford.
Don't listen to her. You're in good hands. And I pay too well, if anything. Off with you. Hayden should have supplies. See that you're equipped before you head out. We're in harsh country. Get your berries and hurry back. And if you get so much as a tickle of wind, you drop everything and you run. Something in the air tonight. If it's a beawick, we'll shelter in the ruins. Hut dwellers be damned.
All right.
Heard the man. Let's get going before you keel over.
What is it? As you wish.
So, I've got my party of 2 right now. We will ultimately be able to have a party of 6 people. We've got ourselves, Thorns over here, druid, currently equipped with a sword and a large shield. And I'm wearing my padded armor with a damage reduction of 4 and a recovery speed penalty of 20%. And Kalissa over here has a battle axe in one hand and a torch in the other, which can also be used as a weapon, which is kind of nice. And she's wearing some scale armor with a damage reduction of 7. So she's going to be a bit tankier than I am. She's got quite a few more hit points because she actually has a constitution score, unlike myself. But it's worth noting if I do go into my bear form, I will get a damage reduction of 10, which is pretty awesome. Now, one thing we can do is we can hit tab to see items around the site. Now, normally in the game, tab, you have to hold it to reveal it. I actually have to set it to a toggle. I realize it's going to add a lot of stuff all over the screen, but honestly, it makes my life a lot easier, so I don't have to keep holding down the tab button. So we're going to do that. We'll take a look at the rocks over here. Tall, glass green pillars appear as if they've sprouted from the earth. The flickering fire such shadows dancing within. Because my voice is a little bit shot today, I'm not going to be able to read absolutely everything out loud, so I will encourage you guys to read on your own, pausing if you need be. So we got some loot over here. I don't think I've got any mechanics skill, or do I have any lockpicks? No, so I don't think I can open this right now. No, we'll have to come back to it. We've got some dire wooden clothing, no armor value. Now, it's worth noting I can choose which party member loots the item. I can also put it in my stash, which is basically an unlimited amount of space that I can sell later on. If you don't like the stash mechanic, then you can actually make it so you can only access the stash while you're in town. It's one of the game options here. So I can disable this, which will restrict my ability to interact with my stash from when I'm in town. But yeah, it's just convenient. If you turn on expert mode, then you don't get that. We'll see about making a decision there later on.
Anyone need supplies? I've got sundries for sale.
And you get a potion of minor regeneration, which heals endurance. Note it's endurance, not health that gets regenerated. We'll go ahead and loot that, and then the gold doesn't matter.
What is it?
We'll go and talk to Heoden over here. Simple tunic. It's got a tear.
A whole wagon full of goods to sell, but not enough shirts for the road. Say, is there anything you need? I've got some basic traveling supplies for sale if you'd like.
Let's ask him about himself.
I'm a trader, originally from the Adir Empire, but I've been trying to establish new business out here. Life on the road has brought some unexpected challenges, to be sure. And I'm sure you've noticed how prickly the locals can be. But we're here to make the most of things, right?
So, because, and I'm going to turn this option off, but I want to show it for at least the first conversation. Because I've got the option where it shows dispositions on certain responses, you can see here that this would be a passionate response, this would be a clever response, and this would be a cruel response, which will develop my disposition. If I were a paladin or priest, it would be very important that I do disposition that meets my order, but also it's going to have a pretty big impact, I think, on future conversations, because people will be affected by what disposition I have, not to mention my party members, especially if they're religious. I'm trying to think of what my character would say. Pretty positive. If you think these Carabiniers are prickly, watch for those axe wielders. Odema mentioned that's pretty funny. I don't think I would be particularly cruel. I mean, I see myself as being gruff. We might occasionally end up with an answer that ends up being kind of cruel, but I think that that's just a little too mean. You know what? I think this is the sort of more pragmatic sort of thing that my character would go for. I think that's good. Excellent advice indeed.
Something else you need? Looks like we're settled for the night.
Tell me about this empire.
It's not as big as it used to be, but it's still big. The mainland is a continent northwest of here, but the colonies used to include Raed Saris and the Deerwood. About 150 years ago, Deerwood won its independence from the Empire, a fact our companions are quick to remind me of.
Why'd you move all the way out here?
Because it seemed friendlier than Raed Saris? My brothers took over the family mercantile business a few years ago, and there wasn't enough for me to do back home. I moved out to try and expand.
Direwood is a former colony, seems like a good place to start. As much as I admire the Raed Saren's work ethics, they've always struck me as a little fanatical. So, sounds reasonable enough. That's high-minded of you. Seems like you got the short end of the stick. And again, I'm going to want to go and hide these things because I don't want these things to influence what I use in my my speech. I don't know. I think I would just say, sounds reasonable enough. And let's see what he's got. So, trading screen over here. You can see I can trade stuff out of any character's inventory as well as my stash, which is nicely sorted based on type of gear. So I could say, sell this clothing, which is apparently worth 75 copper pieces. That's pretty amazing. It's got no armor whatsoever. I mean, it's good enough that you're not naked, and you can also enchant it. Enchanting is a thing you can do to all gear. We don't have the materials for it at this time. But clothing can be enchanted, and then, you know, anyone who doesn't necessarily care about damage reduction, but wants no penalty to recovery speed, can use enchanted clothing like that. So we might just go and sell it. We could go and buy something. It might be worth, for example, purchasing some lockpicks. So we get a trio of lockpicks over here. So overall, it's going to cost us 39 copper pieces, but then we'll have some lockpicks. We can go and open that chest we left behind, and then we'll have a few more when we go around. That seems relatively reasonable. We'll do that trade. And let's head back over here. So you can see here, because it's a very easy box, it's basically got a difficulty of 1 to open, which means with a level 1 of mechanic skill, I could open it, or I can use some lockpicks to make up for the difference. So yes, we will use a lockpick. We'll grab that. It's a potion of minor endurance. It's worth 60 copper pieces, so I guess we turned a profit there, which is good. And if you use it, it gives us plus 50 endurance. What, like... So it's an instant heal potion. That's pretty nice. Especially when you compare it to the regeneration, which is over 12 seconds. This is a lot more powerful. Oh, note that it said 50, but I would get 63 if I use it. And it's because, I think it's because of my survival skill. Yeah, see? If Kalisa were to use it, she would only get 60 endurance. I will get more out of consumables than other people because I have a high survival skill, which is kind of interesting. We can also go ahead and drag it onto our quick bar. Let's go ahead and split the difference that way. She's got more hit points, so the bigger potion of minor endurance might be better off that way. Okay.
What is it?
So we've got that. We've got to go and look for our berries, so we'll do that. If I click on myself, I can see my abilities. I can swap weapon sets. I have nothing equipped in my second weapon set over here. But if I did, then I could switch between the two. I'll probably want to get a bow at some point. I won't need one right now. Hopefully we'll pick one up. There's also additional weapon sets. I know that one of the races starts with one unlocked right away, and I suspect you can unlock more with talents, which I think later on in the game might be useful because I think there's going to be, you know, things with high resistance to slashing. So you're going to want to make sure you've got a bludgeoning weapon. Well, they call them crushing in this game, but, you know, something like that. There's Sparfle, who's supposed to be looking for water.
I'll have your water soon enough. Stream's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I'm going to make this box a little bit bigger. Covers up more of the screen, but I think people will like these stats. It would be nice if we could sort of detach these tabs so I could have both windows at the same time. That's like sort of the chat log. But, you know, I'm going to keep these combat stats here. And speaking of combat, because I've dabbled a little with the game, I know that there's going to be one really soon. So here we've got some plants, first of all. It's not the one I'm looking for. It's Aidmith's Wort, which automatically gets put in the stash, and that can be used for potions later on. So this is a dead end. This is where we came from, so we don't want to go that way.
Shouldn't stray too far.
Yeah.
Let's check by those outcroppings.
All right, sounds good to me. All right, so because I have the game set to automatically pause when I enter combat, it has just paused. It's a little bit weird in that we don't actually have vision over our opponents. I'm just going to unpause for a second and pause back again. So it is a pausable real-time game. You can pause whenever you want, issue commands, think about what you're doing, try to avoid any kind of death. In addition to that, you can actually play the game at double speed or at half speed, which is quite cool. Especially in combat, doing a lot of things at half speed might be fun. And if you're just running around an area that you've already been through and you want to speed things up, you can go to double speed. So there's just a single wolf over here. I think we can probably just go and melee it directly. I don't think I'm going to need to use a spell. I could go ahead and use my bear shapeshifting, and may as well. I can use it once per fight. So I will go ahead and initiate that right away. And what's nice about the shapeshifting, it is an instantaneous transformation. You can see here my werebear form.
What is it?
All right, and we killed the wolf. No problem. Didn't even take any damage whatsoever as far as I can tell. We got a bit of experience for killing the wolf. You don't get experience for killing creatures by itself, it's worth noting. Instead, you get experience every time you kill a creature. You fill out the bestiary information about the creature, which is in here. So you get some information about it. Once it's fully filled out, then you know everything about the creature, but you get no more experience points. We found a wolf hide over here, which might be worth a few bucks. Maybe we can use it for crafting as well. Gonna ignore the dead deer, and we've got a bush. I got my springberry. Kind of a mystery to the rest of the caravan. Just some kind of wanderer, the way I hear it. Oh, I forgot to turn off the chat options here, so we might still get a few disposition spoilers. So, yes, because I'm a drifter, Kalissa's asking me this. It's like, yeah, that's the sort of thing that tends to happen with orphans. Oh, do I want to be an orphan? Sure, I wander into the life of fools, talk them out of their money and wander back out. No, that's not me. You have to be when people are looking for you. Ooh. Are people looking for me? Or I can say that's none of your business, but I don't want to do that. Maybe there's people looking for me. Do they think I'm some sort of freak? Was there an incident that I, like, you know, classically with people who can shapeshift like this, right? Like werewolves and things. It's like, oh, you get enraged and you snap and, like, you accidentally hurt someone that you care about, and then you have to hit the road and run. You know, I like the idea of having maybe a bit of a darkness or something. Or perceived darkness. Maybe we didn't actually do it, but we get blamed for it. Yeah, how is it you happen to have come here? They think I have something that belongs to them. Something they're pretty intent on getting back. Maybe. I cross dangerous people. I couldn't stick around. Well, that could work. I don't know why they're looking for me. I don't care to find out. I don't know, maybe cross dangerous people. Maybe I overthrew some little minor lordling somewhere, or did something like that, or, you know, well, let's go with this one. I like it. You do what you can to survive. What else can be expected to do? Brazen Shrouding. Been a long time since I've been this way, but I've always liked it. Lord Raedric's offer makes a girl think. I'll give him that. You here to settle like the rest of the lot? So Lord Raedric is, I think, the Lord of the Gilded Vale, and I think he's opened the door to settlers. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a hard offer to pass up, or I'm just passing through, or just hadn't given it much thought. I mean, I'm a wanderer, so probably for now, just passing through. That's usually the case with the big city, just a little ways further up the same road. Where are you headed? Oh, she thinks maybe I'm going to a big city instead of there. Nowhere special, just putting as much time and distance between me and my old life as I possibly can. That sounds like what's going on. I'm going to continue on to the city, see where that takes me. That's also very reasonable. Probably wander for a while, somewhere I can make some money. No idea what I'm going to do next. Go to the city and see where it takes me. You can get lost in the big city, or at the very least, there's probably a lot of ways out of that. Because I'm not necessarily running for my old life exactly, so let's say that one. Closest one is Defiance Bay, the capital, a few days out. Got its nice places and its not so nice places, same as any city, but the Duke is a good man, as I hear it. The Duca says. Anyway, wasting time, Odema will give me an earful, we'll be on our way, but let's find out a bit about her. Why are you here? My sister moved out here sometimes back. She sent me a letter. She seemed worried, but that's how she always is. This time, though, she asked me to come out, and that's got me a little worried. I haven't seen her in ages. Been doing guide work in Ixmiddle. But I'd do anything for her. She's a much better woman than me. So I'm here, and we'll see. Tell me about yourself. Simple needs, open skies, far horizons. Well, see, I can get along with that. Find work lets me live that way. Family wanders too. Started in Direwood. Parents end up living Living Lands. Isn't that where I'm from? I got a brother in Rothay and another in Aedir. I think that's how they were saying it, Aedir. My sister's in Gilded Vale. She's the only real homebody. And what can you tell me about the Direwood? Used to be part of the Empire, yada, yada, yada. Locals are feisty. Been out of touch, but I'm hearing weird kinds of things about it lately. People having trouble giving birth, I guess. A lot of them. Been going on for years now, but somehow it's getting worse. With an uneasy tremor in her voice, she adds, I'll have to ask my sister more about it. Alright, let's get back to camp. Wouldn't hold my breath that Sparfle's getting you water anytime soon. Does what he feels like. When he feels like, you should check up on him first, slap him around a little. Stream's just down that way. Come on, let's get you your water.
Yes.
Okay. Next up, find Sparfle again. Let's wander around, see if we can find any more plants, actually, to pick. Try to complete the entire map whenever we can here. Yeah. Completionist. Go, go. A little burned lady. You can look that stuff up in the stash later on and see what's what. Yeah, let's explore every little nook and cranny. This is why I don't usually do these games as a live stream or a video, because it's like, is this going to be fun? I don't know, but we're going to go ahead and try it. So we're at the stream here. Oh, I wonder if there's anything over this way. No. There's a deer. Now, I can force the attack mode. Oops, I don't think we're going to be able to catch the deer. Whoa, what do we have here? Travelers maybe, or looters, or bandits. Bad sign. Corpse is cold to the touch, and a ripe smell wafts from it in putrid waves. A dark, crusted bloodstain besmirches its simple linen clothes. But it's lootable. What do you got? Leather armor, which is better armor than I'm currently wearing in terms of pure defenses, but it would also slow me down. I'm going to have to make a decision as to exactly what kind of armor my character is going to have equipped when he's not in his bear form. I actually might want to go with no armor whatsoever. Just maximize my casting speed. And then if I do want to be defended, then they can drop in the bear form. I actually think that's entirely reasonable. I probably should have kept that other clothing. I suppose I can probably just go naked, couldn't I? Bam. Naked man, naked man.
What is it?
Does whatever a naked man can. I do have to be a little concerned about being hit right at the start of combat before I go into my animal form, although I still have the shield, which will help with deflection.
What a
Deflection.
surprise. Sparfle went hunting. At least he left the water skins. Come on.
Deflection decreases the chance that you'll get hit. Damage reduction decreases the damage you take if you get hit. crouch at the riverbank and dip your water skin in the cool water while Calissa waits nearby, keeping watch. As you rise, you notice her look up sharply towards the tree line. Out of the trees emerges Sparfle, one of the guides, barely discernible in the moonlight. He no longer carries his bow, and there's a strangeness to his gait, a spastic wobble in his ordinarily deft stride, and he moves towards you with labored breath. Calissa frowns.
Are you all right?
Sparfle's toe catches on a rock, and he collapses forward in a heap, the feathered shaft of an arrow planted between his shoulders like an enemy flag. Naked man. Naked. I'm going to have to find some clothes again. I should just worn that other clothes that we found. Alright. And then pause at the start of combat. So I think this is going to be another great time for us to go into bear form. So we're going to initiate that while we send... Is she using a bow? Yeah, let's go after the bow person. Often they're a little squisher. She doesn't have a shield either, so she'll probably go down faster. So let's go ahead and run it here. We'll run it in slow motion. I'll go to bear form, and we'll go down and help kill this hunter right away, who's still using ranged weapon. So I've taken a little bit of endurance damage, and again, I don't have a whole lot of it, so that can be quite painful. I might want to use my roar. I can only use it twice per rest here. It's out a frightening roar, frightening enemies in the area of effect. It's quite big. It's got a base radius of 3 meters, but mine's 4.4 because of my intellect. Also has a base duration of 10 seconds, but mine will go for 14 seconds. And frightened reduces the resolve and dexterity by 2. I think this combat's going to be easy enough to handle. I can also cast 2 level 1 spells, and I've got a few options for that. Charm Beast, Dancing Bolt, which is a big AoE that only hits enemies, which is quite nice, actually. And it's like large area. Nature's Mark. What is it? Causes them to glow. Oh, reduces their deflection and reflexes for 42 seconds. It's a long time. It's got a bonus to accuracy, too. I guess because it's just a debuff and not a damage dealer. So that's actually pretty substantial. Nature's Vigor. Friendly AoE. Heals for 40. And gives you more max endurance. Okay, we're not going to use that now, but it's really going to be a really great heal. Sunbeam. AoE, not huge, and it doesn't have friend or foe detection. But it burns blinds. That's pretty good. Talon's Reach is... Okay, so I think Talon's Reach does slightly more damage. It's also a slash as opposed to a burn. But it doesn't blind. Is it the same radius? Same radius. Oh, but a better interrupt. So if it does interrupt someone, then it will interrupt them. It'll interrupt them for longer. It's worth noting Sunbeam has a larger range, though, than the Talon's Reach. Okay, good to know. Tanglefoot is an AoE, so there's no friend or foe differentiation. And it hobbles them. So it hobbles them for about 6 seconds, but it's worth noting the AoE sticks around for 28 seconds. So it just creates an area that will slow people down. Alright, situational, but might be nice. Vile Thorns is a cone. Quite a long cone as well. Like, that's big. Sort of modest damage, but also sickens them. Okay. Worth noting as well, it hits 2 different stats. Deflection and Fortitude. And what's the last thing? Winter Wind. Huge damage. That's bigger than all my other spells. Big cone as well, and can push them back. Holy crap. Yeah, that is a big cone. We're not going to use any of that right now. We're just going to keep smashing this hunter over here. Okay, we're still on slow speed. Look at the damage. How much did I just hit? Delures, engages, hits for 21 slashing damage. Very nice. We'll try to finish him off. So my weapons, yeah, the bear claws are the same as all the other druid weapons. So I'm attacking, I should be hitting once every 2 seconds, alternating claws. You can see after you do the attack animation, there's that 1 second cooldown. Now, before we drop out of combat, also note my Spirit Shift Bear Hide has damage resistance of 10 and no recovery speed penalty, so quite tanky with it on.
Come on, we have to get back to camp.
As you wish.
Let's loot the bodies first. There's a bow, which I'm going to like. Some light armor. There you go. It loots in a bit of a radius too, so it got both at the same time, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and drop a bow in my second weapon slot and go and swap those around. So if I'm in my human form, I will be shooting people with a bow. staying out of range and using some spells. So my endurance recovers as soon as combat ends, but you'll notice my health has dropped a little bit. And that's the permanent stuff that you can only heal generally by resting. Yeah, by resting, by camping out or going to an inn. Alright, so I've spotted these guys, but the game didn't pause because the combat wasn't actually initiated. It's worth noting I can also go into a stealth mode, which would allow me to get closer before we get engaged. I think what's going to happen here is I think I might want to start this one with a spell. I mean, I know it's only 2 of them, but let's use some spells. Let's use this Winter Wind. Look at that stuff. So the red area is the normal radius, and it will hit everything inside that red area. The yellow area is increased because of my intellect, and even though this is a spell that's supposed to hit everyone, in the yellow area it will only hit enemies. So let's tell you what, let's go ahead and run up. Here, I'll start the fight like this. There you go. I'm going to use my bow. I'm going to let them... Oh, there's 3 of them. I'm actually really happy I waited. So now that they're sort of engaged on her, I'm going to go and use this spell now. And it would be nice if I could position it in a way that doesn't hit my friend. Now, I could... Oops, I don't want to bear form. I could do it if I had her in a yellow area, but there we go. As long as no one moves, I think we'll be okay. There we go. Decent damage. Bit of a knockback, which isn't necessarily important. There you go, using my bow. I should do decent damage with the bow because I do have a high might. You don't need a high dexterity for anything like that. Alright, some shields, more armors and things like that. We'll may as well loot all the things. And actually, we should be putting it in the stash, because we're going to run out of space relatively soon. Calissa's taken a little bit of health damage, but not too much. Oh, looks like the camp has been slaughtered over here. All around you lie the massacred remains of the other travelers, peppered with arrows and knife hilts, splayed and bug-eyed and filthy on the blood-damp earth. Calissa puts the back of her left hand to her mouth, as if to ward off the horror like a poisonous vapor. A handful of dark figures stands above the fallen, treading on limbs and backs and heads, jerking their axes from bodies as if from half-split logs as they prepare to add you to the sprawling pile beneath them. One of them, towering and severe, with a thick beard tasseled with knots, holds a wet blade at the neck of a man as you recognize as Heoden, the last of your caravan left standing. Lay down your arms, trespasser. Do not forfeit this man's life, for a fight you will lose. We're going to go ahead and put a cut in on this cliffhanger. As we, next time we're going to come back and try to figure out how we deal with this particular situation as I continue the tales of the naked druid going around. I will put some clothes on soon, but not quite yet. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.